guys, welcome back to the channel. Thank you so much for watching. Today we are going to kick off my yearly favorites videos. So kind of depending on the year, I either do a really long video or I break them up into smaller videos and like in categories. This year you guys did request that I do individual category videos, so that is what I'm going to be doing. I'm going to do the face today, and then we're going to do eyes, lips, and then we're going to finish off the week with the worst products of 2018. I decided to do it a little bit earlier in December this year than I normally do. I usually wait until like the last week of December to do my favorites video, but there's so much new drugstore makeup coming out for spring 2019, so I thought, okay, we're just going to finish up 2018, and then we're going to talk about some new 2019 products that are coming out later in December, because I do have a couple online orders that I made that are going to be coming in, so I can do videos for you guys on all of those products. So like I said, we're going to kick off with face products today, so if you want to see what my favorite face products of 2018 are, then just keep watching. So we're going to go ahead and start off with primer, because that is what we apply first on our face. And the one I had to pick was the e.l.f. Moisture Lock Primer. This is a recent try for me, but I was looking at all of my primers and I was like, okay, what is my all-time favorite? And I chose this. This just keeps my makeup on so well throughout the day. It's not really mattifying and it's not really blurring. It's just kind of a standard primer that really just helps all of your makeup just stay on. So it's kind of like a glue-ish type of consistency, which is really weird, but it just blends into the skin really nicely, and it is a little tacky when you put it on, so your makeup just clings to it, you know, your foundations and concealers and all of that. It comes in like a squeezy tube and then a pump as well, which I really like, and it's super affordable because it is e.l.f. And I just tried this and I instantly fell in love, and I've just been reaching for it over and over again. And like I said, it's not really mattifying or hydrating or blurring, or it doesn't have any like gimmicky things to it. It's just a good standard primer, so I absolutely love that. For foundations, I do have three to talk about. So I have a less coverage, it's more like light to medium coverage foundation. I have a full coverage foundation, and then I did want to mention a stick foundation. Stick foundations have been super popular this year. A ton of brands have been putting them out. So I wanted to give a shout out to my favorite stick foundation for you guys. So the light to medium coverage foundation that I chose was the Physicians Formula Healthy Skin. I do wear the shade LN3, and it has one of those like big old doe foots as the applicator that you can just kind of draw all over your face. And this is such a good foundation. It looks healthy on the skin. Like the name, the Healthy Foundation, is the perfect name for this, because it does. It just looks so healthy on the skin. It's not overly mattifying or overly hydrating. And the coverage is so beautiful because you can easily build it up in spots that, you know, like for me, I have a lot going on my like chin and jawline. So I can kind of add some to that area, and it really does build up really well and cover. But it doesn't look cakey and gross, which I think is so important. And it just still looks like skin. It doesn't look makeup-y. So if you are someone who you want a really light, just nice feeling foundation, this is going to be for you. But if you want some medium coverage though, it's not like really light coverage. You can definitely build this up to make it medium. So love this so much. Definitely just an outstanding foundation all around. Now for my full coverage foundation, I actually have another one that has more of like a doe foot applicator, which is kind of funny, but this is the Makeup Revolution Conceal and Define Foundation. This is what I'm wearing today, and oh my goodness, this is the best full coverage foundation, you guys. And again, it has one of those really big old doe foots, and you can just kind of draw it all over your face. I like both this and this with a sponge or a brush. It doesn't really matter how I apply it. I like it both ways. This is such a good full coverage foundation, but I have more oily skin and it doesn't look super cakey and matte on me. It just looks really nice and natural on my skin, which I love that type of finish, like a good satin matte. That is everything I want. So this just looks so beautiful because it covers everything. Like it is a full coverage foundation, but it doesn't look really thick and cakey on the skin. So I love this so much. It came out with like such a bang, and I definitely think it is like one of the best releases of 2018. And the shade range on this is amazing. I do have the shade F6, and I feel like that's a pretty good shade match for me. And again, it's so full coverage, but it doesn't feel thick and gross on the skin or even look thick and gross, which is exactly what we all want. Now, stick foundation. I went ahead and I picked the L'Oreal Infallible Longwear Shaping Stick Foundation. I did do a video where I compared this one, the Makeup Revolution one, and then the Maybelline Superstay one. And this one was definitely my favorite. I like this a lot with a sponge, actually, which is kind of interesting. I thought, you know, with a stick foundation, like a brush would probably be the best way, but I really like a sponge to blend this out because I feel like it kind of thins it out just a little bit. It doesn't make it so thick because stick foundations are pretty like thick and creamy. And so this just kind of, the sponge really just helps kind of thin this one out a little. But what I love about this is the coverage. I think it has really good coverage and it has really good staying power. The other ones that I tried, and I'll link that video for you guys if you want to see the comparisons, but their staying power wasn't the best and their coverage wasn't the best. This is, I would say, a good medium. Maybe you can build it up to full coverage, but it just looks really nice on the skin and it wears really well throughout the day. So that is why I chose that one. So for concealers, I did go ahead and I chose a drugstore and a high-end. Some categories I have a drugstore and a high-end favorite, and other times I just have a drugstore favorite. So we're just kind of flying by the seat of my pants. Whatever I like, I'm gonna share. So my high-end pick is the Too Faced Born This Way Multi-Use Sculpting Concealer. I do have the shade Light Beige, and this is a pretty much like a skin tone match for me. It's not necessarily really light and brightening, but this concealer, you guys, first of all, you get a crap ton in here. You get, I think it's what, like, yeah, 0.5 fluid ounces. You get so much product, and it feels so light on the skin. For me, for some reason, this is like the concealer equivalent of this foundation. Like full coverage, but it doesn't feel full coverage. It feels really light on the skin, and it almost has this like, not like luminous look, more like satin look to it. After you blend it in, it still looks really hydrated and really nice under the eyes. It doesn't dry you out, which I really appreciate because, you know, we all have those fine lines under there that we don't want to look crepey and chalky. You know, no one has time for that. And this concealer really just like hydrates that area and covers up what you want to cover, but it looks so beautiful. So absolutely love it. Totally think it's worth the money. And then my drugstore pick is the Conceal and Define Concealer from Makeup Revolution. I do have the shade C1, which is a brightening shade for me personally, but they have so many shades in the line, and it does feel a little bit thicker than the foundation, but it still does not feel as dry as, let's say, like the Tarte Shape Tape. I did do a video where I compared Shape Tape to this, and I think I mentioned that in the video where this, you might have to do a little bit more of this to get the same coverage as Shape Tape, but it doesn't feel nearly as drying as that does. So that is why I love this, because it's a good full coverage concealer, but it doesn't feel really dry and thick and like really like crepey under the eyes. You know what I mean? When you get that feeling, you're just like, you can't hang. And so love this so much. Again, so many shades, and you can find this at Ulta. And I'll link all these products for you guys down below, as always. All right, so moving on to powder, because that is typically what I do next after I do my concealer. So to set my concealers, I have to give this a shout out again. This was in last year's favorites as well, but the Maybelline Fit Me powder. I do have the shade 05 Fair, and that is a really good brightening shade for me. So if I go in with this Too Faced concealer, that's more of a skin tone match, and then this, it's actually what I did today, it still can look brightening. Now, with a brightening concealer, I might not want to use this powder because then I would look like, hello, like really light and bright. But this powder, it does not make you look dry, it does not make you look thick and crepey under your eyes. It just sets everything so beautifully. And I think with powders, like sometimes it can just look too much under the eyes. You know, it can just look like you put too much product there because that skin is pretty thin. And this just does not look like that at all. It is the best consistency. It is the best shade for me because, like I said, it does really brighten up that area for me. I think this might be like the second or third one I have purchased. I am obsessed with this powder, and this is like my holy grail loose powder. It is the best, so I love that. Now, for setting like the entire face, I do typically like to go in with a pressed powder. So something that's a little bit more, got a little bit more coverage to it. And so my pick for this year is the Milani Conceal and Perfect Shine Proof Powder. This one is like falling apart and it's like done. I mean, basically I'm like scraping the edges of it. But this, oh my gosh, it like just perfects the skin. It adds a little bit of coverage, but it's not marketed as a powder foundation, so it doesn't offer a ton of coverage, but it does offer a little bit more. And it just like fills in every little like gap where the foundation didn't hit, or I don't know, it just smooths everything out and it makes you look so perfect and just flawless. I love this powder. You need it in your life. Now for bronzer, I only have one favorite, and it is a drugstore. And unfortunately, there isn't a huge shade range for this bronzer. And that's kind of where I was like, ooh, do I want to mention it? Because I wish they had more shades. But at the end of the day, for me personally, this is my favorite. And this is the Essence Luminous Matte Bronzing Powder. So it does say for lighter skin, but I'm not sure. I can't find a darker skin one available. But I think if you have light to fair skin, this is a really good bronzer. Sometimes, especially if you're really fair, bronzers can just be so much. They can, even the lightest marketed one can be too dark for you. This one though, it's like a foolproof bronzer. I have it on today, and you can just swirl your brush in and just like go crazy, and you don't look crazy. You can't screw this up. It looks so flawless on the skin, and anytime I literally just take a big old brush and then I just go in on my forehead like this. I don't do a precise application at all. I will take it right here just to kind of bronze up the sides of the face, and it just looks so flawless. And I love the name of it, like Luminous Matte, because you're like, what does that even mean? But that is what this does, because it's a nice like satin finish. It's not a flat matte, but there's no shimmer in it. There's no like noticeable, you know, luminosity, but it's just, it's like skin finish. It's so beautiful. So if you're somebody even who has like dry skin, I feel like this is going to look good on you because it is just that skin-like finish. So it just looks really natural on the skin. The tone does, the finish does, so that is why I had to choose this. Okay, so for highlighters, we have a lot to talk about because I kind of did it a little in 3 different categories. So we have like, cream and liquids. We have powders, but we have 2 different categories of powders. We have subtle and then we have intense. So I kind of wanted to cover all of my bases here. And I have a high-end and a drugstore option for all of the categories. So let's go ahead and start off with just the cream one. So the high-end one that I chose was the Benefit What's Up highlighter. I love this. Talk about a natural looking highlight, but that still like packs a punch. Like, I don't even know how to describe this. This is how I would describe this. It's like an intense dew. It's not like intense in the sense of like there's glitter or there's intense shine or it's crazy, but it's also just like a really intense dewy look on the skin. It's beautiful. And so it's like a creamy stick, and then it has like a little sponge that you can use to blend it out. I usually just use like a small stipple brush, like this one from e.l.f. is really good, that I will just kind of stipple it on. Or you could even kind of blend it out with your fingers, and it looks really beautiful. I just think this is gorgeous. I think if you have oily skin, this is a really good highlighter, because sometimes for me, I don't like to wear a really intense highlighter because I already have oily skin, so it's just going to make me look even more oily, you know, and I just don't always like that look, and sometimes that's just not what I'm going for. So this, it still kind of gives me that like dewy finish on the skin, but it's so natural looking that it really does well with my oily skin. And this does dry down to more of a powder finish. So you apply it like a cream, but then it does become more like powdery as you wear it, which I also really, really like. So I totally think this is worth the money, and it's been around for a long time, I think, and for a good reason. Okay, now for drugstore, this one is definitely a little bit more intense. This is the Wet n Wild Mega Glow Hello Halo Liquid Highlighter, and I do have the shade Gilded Glow. I've had another one, it was more of a pinky tone, but I decluttered that just because that's not the like tone of highlight I like to wear. I prefer more tones like this because it kind of blends into my skin tone and it looks a little bit more natural, but they have a lot of shades of these, and it just is one of those big old doe foots. Again, apparently I have a thing for products with this kind of application, but you can just do like 2 dots on the top of your cheeks and either just blend in with your finger, a sponge, a small stipple brush, and it looks beautiful all those ways. What I love about this is if you want to just do like one really small dot, it can look a little bit more natural, or this can pack a punch if you are into that look and you want to build it up a little. So I love that you can just kind of really manipulate this product and it just sits on the skin so beautifully. And it doesn't like break up your foundation. That's something that I really struggle with liquid highlighters, is that sometimes it can break up the foundation underneath it, but this one doesn't do that at all, so I love that about it. Okay, now for subtle highlighting powders, I have this one from the drugstore, and this is the Catrice highlighting powder in Champagne Campaign. This highlighter is kind of like the Essence bronzer is foolproof. This highlighter is. You can just put this on all over your face and you will still look so gorgeous, because it just gives this like radiance to your skin. It doesn't give it like, you know, this really intense like stripe of highlight or anything like that. It just gives so much radiance that I think if you even have dry skin, you could use this all over your face, you know, and just kind of give things, you know, a little bit more life. I don't use it like that because I do have oily skin, but for me, I love this as an everyday highlight because it still gives me a little bit of highlight, but it's not really intense. It's more natural looking, and as I get oily throughout the day, it doesn't look crazy on my skin either. So love that so much. And then for high end, I have this one. This is the Laura Mercier Matte Radiance Baked Highlighter in Highlight 01. Oh my goodness gracious, this highlighter has been around for so long, and for good reason. This is a little bit more intense than the Catrice, I will say, but it is still so natural looking. Like, Matte Radiance is the perfect name for this. I love things that are like a satin finish, and that's kind of what this highlight is, what that bronzer is. Like, it's just, it's got this quality to it where it does give you a little bit of radiance and life, but it's still not like intense, glittery, shimmery, you know, see it from space kind of highlight. It's one of those things that I think if you wear this, it's not even so much like, wow, girl, look at that highlight. It's more, whoa, you've been like eating all of your vegetables. You've been drinking a ton of water. You've been getting enough sleep. Like, you just look amazing. You know, like your skin just looks good and healthy when you wear this product. So I love it. Now, for more intense highlighters, I have one that's high-end. Now, I call this high-end because it is, I think, around in like the $20s of somewhere. But it's not like super expensive, but this is the Persona highlighter in the shade Zuma. So they have a lighter one than this, and then they also have a deeper one. It's what I have on today, and it's intense, but it is such a beautiful light gold highlighter, and that is something that I just love, because sometimes I think gold highlighters can look way too dark on my skin and look crazy, and this doesn't, but I still get that warm highlighter look that I'm going for. So I love that about this product, and it is the smoothest highlighter, you guys. It is like, you barely need any. Like, I tapped my brush a lot today and I still got a really good glow. And the packaging is just so beautiful. I love like the nude and just the simplicity of it all. And it is cruelty free if that's something that you're passionate about as well. But I just think the like color of this one in particular for me is perfect, but the formula is so smooth and buttery, and just the smallest bit goes the longest way. It is amazing. Now, my drugstore pick for intense highlighters is actually a palette, and this is from Makeup Revolution, and this is their Incandescent highlighter palette. I think they have a deeper one as well called Ignite, but this one for my skin tone is perfect. So you get like a white highlighter, a gold, a more kind of like champagne-y one, and then like a deeper kind of rosy one, rosy bronze, I would say. These highlighters, you guys, they make you look like wet. Like, it is so intense that it's just crazy. And they feel kind of baked, but they're not overly dry at all. And when I first opened it and like I saw this, I was like, oh, they're baked. They're going to be kind of dry, probably not that much shine payoff, you know. And then I put it on and I was like, oh my gosh, like you can see this highlighter from the freaking moon. Like, it is so bright. It is insane. But oh, these are beautiful though. And they sit on the skin so beautiful. That's what I love about this and the Persona one, is that they're intense highlighters, but they sit on the skin so well that they don't accentuate a ton of texture and look really weird and like accentuate all the pores. They still are so smooth that they blend into the skin so well. And what I love about the palette in particular is that you can really play around. So like, if I want a little bit brighter of a pop, I might just put that one like right here or like right here on the highest point, but then maybe blend it out with like the gold or the champagne shade. So it's really fun just to kind of mix and match. The packaging sucks to show on camera though, so I'm sorry if I've blinded you guys throughout this, but it is just the most beautiful, intense highlighter, and you get this whole palette I think for like 15 bucks. So, and again, the smallest amount goes the longest way because it's a lot, just warning. Okay, so last but not least, let's talk about blush. So I have a cream blush and a powder blush to talk about, and they're both drugstore. I didn't really have a favorite high-end blush this year. Now the creams, these are probably my favorite blushes like ever. I'm obsessed. I want all of the colors. These are the Flower Beauty Blush Bombs. Okay, you guys, if you have not tried these, holy moly, you need to. Like I said, I want to go get all the shades because I'm obsessed. So the first one I ever got was Melon, and this is definitely like a bright shade. It gives you kind of like that like bright corally, like really pretty spring and summer flush. And then the second one I got was Pinched. I got this I think on like Cyber Monday, and this is the most beautiful neutral blush of life. Like I could wear this every single day and be satisfied. It kind of is like a little bit more peachy, but you can still wear it with like pink lips or something and you don't look weird. And oh my gosh, the finish of these is so skin-like and beautiful. They are a little dewy, but oh my gosh, and they're the most interesting consistency because they're not like a really thick cream. They feel so light on the skin. It's like almost like if a gel and a cream had a baby, it would be this. It is so good. And they're pigmented, but they're not like staining so much to where you have to be so careful. Like, oh gosh, I gotta work really fast and blend it in. Or, you know, like, oh, I need a lot of it to build it up. Or, oh, you can't be, like, you don't go overboard, like, you just need the smallest amount. You don't have to be, like, super careful with these. Even the Melon one, that's a little bit brighter. You might have to be a little bit more careful than this one just because of the shade. You know, that's the nature of it. But you still don't have to be, like, so careful. That's what I love about these. And I love them with a brush. I love them with a sponge. You just cannot go wrong with these. I'm obsessed. I need all of them. Okay, and for powder blush, I have one that is so affordable. I think these are like $3. These are the LA Colors Rad Rouge blushes. They have mattes, they have shimmers, they have satin finishes. It's amazing. The two that I have though are Awesome, which I really like this a lot. This is the blush I am wearing today. It's just a really pretty kind of deeper mauvey nude type of shade. And then I also have Bodacious, which is a brighter coral shade. These are both matte, and these blend so well, and they are pigmented but not overly pigmented to where you have to be so careful and like barely touch your brush to it. No, like you can get your brush in there and you can tap it off and you can be good to go. You don't have to work too hard and you don't have to be too careful. It's like the best. And these have the best staying power. It is crazy. For $3, these last on my cheeks for so long. I am obsessed with them. So definitely check these out. I usually find mine at Family Dollar or Dollar General, or you can find them on the LA Colors website, but these, I like was sleeping on these for a long time, and then I finally found them in store and I bought them and I was like, yeah, I'm gonna need like every single one, and I've been good and I haven't bought any more, but I probably will soon because let's get real, it's me. Alright you guys, so that wraps up this video for my favorite face products of 2018. Thank you so much for watching this video. Give it a thumbs up if you liked it, and don't forget to subscribe so you don't miss any more of my yearly favorites or any more new videos that I have out. The next video up will be eyes and then lips, and then we're going to finish off the week with the worst products of 2018. And then next week we are going to be talking about so much new drugstore makeup that's coming out for 2019. I am so pumped for that, for those videos, because I just love new drugstore makeup. It is like what just, whew, it gets me going. I love it so much. So thank you guys again for watching, and I will catch you guys in my next video. Bye!